Hey guys, War Machine again. I know I made a few videos on how to do a tier 3 battle with all the different kinds of groups. So I'm going to make this as like a whole, just a general guideline video guide for you guys. I will put the links of all my boss battles in the description. So you can just go ahead and click on one of the links that I talk about. We're going to talk about 3 different types of teams and 2 different types of ways to do the tier 3 battle. So the teams I'm going to do a PD and Cupid team. I'm going to do a PD team. I'm just going to do a Cupid team. Actually, I'm going to do 4 teams. And no PD, no Cupid. Those are the 4 different types of teams you're going to have for tier 3 boss. And 3 out of those 4 teams can get max. The only one that can't right now is no PD, no Cupid. Although they can get, 25, 28 million, depending on your heroes and your skills and things like that. But getting into it, we're just going to go to the PD and the Cupid team. And I'm just going to do 5 hero bases. And then for your 6th one, it's almost always going to be a DPS. Your DPS is going to be Snowzilla, it's going to be Santa, and it's going to be Immortep. Those are the 3 heroes you're going to want to use for your 6th if you can't get enough damage in there. But you're going to have Druid, of course. Druid is going to be key for everything. And then you got your PD, you got your Cupid, you got your Champ, and then we're going to put in a debuffer. So who's our debuffer? It's going to be a Shaman or a Succubus. Now, if you have a PD and a Cupid, I recommend using a Shaman just because he debuffs a lot more than a Succubus does. And it's also going to help you tank the boss better. If you have a Succubus, you can go ahead and tank with PD because the amount of debuffs you can get with tanking with the PD and getting Shaman revved up, it's going to be really easy to tank with them, even if you don't have them stunned all the way. So this is like a hybrid team. It's not a true permastun, and it's not a true debuff. It's a little bit of both. And so you can use that until you get your PD up to 7 to 9 and your Cupid up to 7 to 9. That's about the perfect skill set where you can almost start doing it with just Champ only. But I always like just leaving a debuffer in there just in case something weird goes on. Especially when you're upgrading Cupid's skill, you can actually start to unsync all your permastun heroes. Now for a true permastun, you get your Druid, your PD, your Cupid, then you got your Champ. And then you can go TG, and you can do Executioner. Those 3 are going to be your best to get a true permastun. And then your 6th, you can always go with an Emo or a Dryad or something like that. But Dryad and Emo, they aren't going to sync up with your other heroes like your Champ and your TG and your Executioner. Because right here, Thunder God has 1,000 hit speed. Your Dryad, she's going to have 1,500, which actually equates to 1,600 hit speed with that new update that came out. Well, not really new, but about a year ago, but they changed all the hit speeds and everything. So it actually all rounds up. So, and then Emo. He has a 6-second cooldown, basically. His proc keeps on going, but his stun is on a cooldown. Just try and think of it like that. So he's only going to stun once every 6 seconds. So he's not going to help keep your heroes in sync, but he will be a good DPS, and he will help stun the boss just in case they do come out of sync, and Emo will be there to stun them. Well, that's kind of why I like having a Shaman in there as well. So it just kind of, even if he does break loose, he's not going to hit very hard. And your team's going to survive, and you're going to go on to 35 mil easy. The next one is going to be just a PD only, which is actually how I learned how to do it. So you got your Druid, you got your PD, you got your Champ, you got your Shaman. That's 4. Then you can go ahead and put Emo in there as well, because once you have the debuffer in there, that's probably all you need. For your 6th hero base, you can put TG in there for more stun duration. Snowzilla, it doesn't really matter too much. Cupid only. Haven't talked about tanks too much, but as far as tanks go, you're going to be looking at basically 2 of them. It's going to be Vlad, if you get lucky enough to roll him. And if you don't have Vlad, that's okay, because Paladin is actually a better tank than Vlad is. Just because he's a debuff. He really doesn't take a lot of damage. So free-to-play players who weren't very lucky, get a Paladin, start getting his level up. And you can probably put the Paladin to about a 4-9 or a 5-9 and still get by pretty good. As far as Shaman and Succubus, they're going to be right around 4-9 as well, depending on how many hero bases and such like that. So Cupid only is going to be it's going to be Paladin here, or Vlad. You don't want to put both of them in there because that's just pretty much useless. Then you're going to have your Druid as your healer. You're going to need a Shaman in there. You're going to need probably a Succubus depending on your levels. So you got your 4 heroes right there. You got your Shaman, you got your Succubus. And then for your 5th hero, you would either do Champ if you can't survive, or I'd try to put Emo in there for extra DPS. Once you get your 6th, then you could probably put Champ in there as well. Or if you actually got kind of lucky and you got a Snowzilla or a Santa, I'd put those 2 in there as well, as long as you can survive. So after that, what do we have left? We have no PD, no Cupid. And it's going to be about the same thing. I mean, it's going to be either Paladin or Vlad. You got your Shaman, Suck, and Emo. Now, once you get your levels up and your skills up, you can actually start moving some of these in and out. Like, you can take Shaman out if your Druid and your Vlad, or your Druid and your Paladin don't need the extra support. So then you can start putting in more DPS heroes, or you can put Champ in there to kind of help as well, but for the most part you want to look more from the DPS side. So then I'm going to talk about talents now. For your secondary crests, it's going to be all about pretty much 2 of them. We're going to go into this one right now. As far as your secondary goes, you're going to want Heavy Blow. If you can grab a set, you can put it on there. If you don't have PD, so this is Cupid users, and then absolutely no Cupid, no PD users, you're going to want Heavy Blow as your secondary crest. Okay, that's going to help you stun the boss more, and it's going to help your tank heal up a little bit more. So every time one of these goes off, that's 1 second the boss doesn't hit, and bosses hit for approximately 1,000 milliseconds, so once a second. So Heavy Blow is actually going to be a pretty important crest. It also, Heavy Blow, once it activates, it hits for 100% of what your hero is hitting for. So that's also going to help your damage. Your second one, this is going to go on your tank. This is going to go on your Paladin or your Vlad. You're going to want Flame Guard on there to help reduce some of the damage that's coming to him and also reflect some back. It's also going to help your damage per second, obviously. I would suggest probably getting a level 2 maybe even a level 3 if you can. And getting enough Flame Guard on there, on your Paladin and your Vlad, you can actually start removing some more debuffs and start to get some more DPS in there as far as heroes go. Then everybody else, once you're out of Flame Guard and you're out of Heavy Blow, start putting slowdown on your heroes, okay? Slowdown on Druid for sure, just because these slowdown crests actually provide a lot of attack boost, and that's what Druid's skill is based on. So you're going to want to put slowdown on Druid first. Then you can start putting slowdown on everybody else. You should have enough crests saved up as far as slowdown is concerned. Then everything else, unless you get lucky enough for life drain, you can put that on your Vlad as well. But you'll more likely have that as a main talent. So we're going to talk about main talents here. And we're going to start off with Cupid and PD. Their best talents for the boss are going to be Berserk and then Revet, just to get everything started. If you have a PD and a Cupid, you're going to want a Berserk on PD or a Revet, and then you're going to want a Revet on Cupid, obviously. So what if you don't have a Cupid? You're going to want a Berserk on PD. A Berserk 3 of 5 will work on an 8 and 9 PD. It could also work on lower PDs once they get the once you start stacking a little bit. But a general rule of thumb is an 8 of 9 needs a 3 of 5, and a 7 of 9 needs a 4 of 5, and then 6 of 9 needs 5 of 5. Just to really get into that true permastun with just champ, you know. Now, for users without PD, if you just have a Cupid, you're going to want a Berserk actually on Cupid for the boss fights. And that's until you get a Revet 4 or Revet 5. You're obviously going to want to change Cupid's skill out, or his talent out, to a Revet, just because that's just what he's there for. He's there to get everybody else buffed up quicker. But if you don't have the luxury of a PD and you don't have the luxury of rolling a Revet right away, a 3 of 5 Berserk or higher will actually help Cupid proc more. And it's going to help on Hero monsters as well. Let's not forget about that. So we went over the PD and the Cupid. Champ, you can use Heavy Blow. You can use Berserk. You can use Revet to get it started quicker. All that stuff doesn't really matter. But for anybody that doesn't have a PD or a Cupid, your main talents are going to want to be more Heavy Blow related or slow down just for extra damage. Your tanker is going to want either a Flame Guard as a main, a Stone Skin in as a main talent, a Life Drain would also be pretty nice. And then War God on certain heroes like Emo and Snowzilla. War God would be really, really good just because it's based off of their damage, and it'll help boost their damage. Well, trying to think of anything else I can say for the boss. So we went over the permastun a little bit, but we went over debuff a little bit more. And you can start, once your PD and your Cupid start to get up higher and higher, you start to actually transition more to a permastun team, you know, than a debuff team. So you every once in a while, you get your PD up to 7, or you get your Cupid up to 7. Start taking out a debuff. Try it with more stun, and then see how it all works out. But once again, long video. Thanks for watching. I'll be put links in the description here about all my other videos. Just trying to help everybody to get to tier 3 boss and last the full 3 minutes with max. Thanks, guys.